Welcome back to Starstruck TV, the place where we bring you the latest in movie reviews, recaps, and deep dives into the stories you can't stop thinking about. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you'll never miss a video. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned for all the updates we've got on the most anticipated projects in entertainment. Today, we're talking about a movie that's been on fans' wish lists for decades. 28 years later. That's right, after years of speculation and rumors, the third installment of the iconic 28 Days Later franchise is finally on its way, and it's set to hit theaters in 2025. The original 28 Days Later, released in 2002 and directed by Danny Boyle, redefined the zombie horror genre, and its 2007 sequel, 28 Weeks Later, solidified the franchise's legacy. Now, 28 years later, promises to take this terrifying saga to the next level. So let's dive into everything we know so far. Release date and confirmation. Let's start with the big question. When can we finally see this movie? 28 Years Later is currently scheduled on June 20th, 2025. The confirmation alone has sent waves of excitement across the internet. It's been nearly 2 decades since the last film, and fans have been waiting for this follow-up ever since. What makes this even more special is the return of Danny Boyle to the director's chair and Alex Garland, the writer behind the first film, stepping back in to pen the script. In a recent interview, Boyle expressed his excitement, saying, "It's been a long time coming, and we wanted to make sure we had the right story to continue this world." Alex Garland has crafted something really special, and I can't wait for audiences to experience it. If you're a fan of this franchise, you know how pivotal Boyle's involvement is. His unique visual style and storytelling sensibility are what made the first movie such a hit, blending psychological horror with raw, emotional depth. Plot details. Now, let's talk about the story. While details about the plot are still under wraps, the title 28 Years Later gives us some huge clues. This movie will take place nearly 3 decades after the original outbreak of the rage virus, which turned people into terrifying, hyper-aggressive infected. That means we're likely to see a world that's been deeply scarred by this apocalyptic event. In 28 Weeks Later, the virus spread to Europe, leaving devastating consequences in its wake. By now, we can assume the infection has either run rampant or humanity has managed to contain it in some way, though we all know peace never lasts long in the 28 Days Later universe. According to Screen Rant, the story is expected to focus on a new generation of survivors trying to rebuild in a society still haunted by the virus. And of course, there's the looming threat that the infection could resurface, or maybe it never really went away. One major rumor swirling around is that the film will explore the long-term effects of the rage virus on both individuals and society. Could we see infected people who have been living with the virus for decades? How has humanity adapted or failed to adapt to this horrifying new normal? These are the kinds of questions fans are eager to see answered. Returning cast members. Here's another reason to get hyped. Cillian Murphy, who played Jim in the original 28 Days Later, is reportedly in talks to reprise his role. While this hasn't been officially confirmed, Murphy himself has expressed interest in returning to the franchise. In a 2021 interview, he said, "I'd absolutely be up for it if the story's right. That film changed my life, and it'd be amazing to revisit that character after all these years." If Jim does return, it would add an incredible layer of continuity to the series. Fans are already speculating about how his character might fit into this new chapter. Has he survived all these years? Is he part of the rebuilding effort, or has he gone into hiding? Other potential returning cast members include Imogen Poots and Macintosh Muggleton, who played Tammy and Andy in 28 Weeks Later. Given that their characters were immune to the virus due to a rare genetic trait, they could play a key role in the story, particularly if scientists are still searching for a cure. Themes and tone. The 28 Days Later franchise has always been about more than just jump scares and gore. These movies delve deep into the human condition, exploring themes like survival, morality, and the breakdown of society. Based on what we've heard so far, 28 Years Later will continue that tradition, but on an even grander scale. The title itself suggests a broader scope, examining how an apocalyptic event reshapes humanity over decades. In a world ravaged by the rage virus, how do people find hope? What lengths will they go to for survival? And can humanity ever truly rebuild, or is the cycle of violence and destruction inevitable? As Danny Boyle put it, the best horror is rooted in reality, and this story is very much about the choices we make as a society when we're pushed to our limits. Fan theories and speculations. Fans have been buzzing with theories about what 28 years later might bring to the table. One of the most popular ideas is that the rage virus has evolved. Think about it. In the first two films, the virus spread through blood and saliva, but what if it's now airborne? This would take the stakes to a terrifying new level, making it almost impossible for survivors to avoid infection. Another theory is that we'll see infected individuals who have lived with the virus for years. Unlike traditional zombies, the infected in this series don't die and come back. They're still alive but consumed by uncontrollable rage. Could some infected individuals have developed a form of consciousness over time? Maybe they're evolving into something even more dangerous. Fans have also speculated about a potential cure. If humanity has spent nearly 3 decades trying to combat the virus, could scientists have finally made progress? But as we've seen in this franchise, every solution tends to create new problems. A cure might bring hope, but it could also spark conflict over who gets access to it. Exploring humanity's fragility. One of the hallmarks of the 28 Days Later series is its exploration of how people react under extreme pressure. In a post-apocalyptic world, the real danger often comes not from the infected, but from other survivors. Will 28 Years Later continue this theme? Based on early hints, the answer seems to be a resounding yes. Danny Boyle has hinted that the movie will explore the long-term psychological toll of living in a world where safety is never guaranteed. As societies try to rebuild, old divisions like class, race, and political ideologies could resurface, creating new tensions. In a world so broken, who can you trust? And what happens when the people you rely on become just as dangerous as the infected? Building on the franchise's legacy. To understand what makes 28 Years Later such a big deal, we need to look back at how this franchise changed the game. When 28 Days Later hit theaters in 2002, it redefined the zombie genre by introducing fast, hyper-aggressive infected. These weren't your shuffling, moaning zombies from George A. Romero's films. These creatures were terrifyingly human and heartbreakingly tragic. The film's gritty, low-budget aesthetic and haunting score created an atmosphere of dread that stuck with audiences long after the credits rolled. Then came 28 Weeks Later, which expanded the story on a larger scale. It wasn't just about survival, it was about rebuilding and the moral compromises that come with it. Now, with 28 Years Later, fans are hoping for a similar leap forward. This movie has the chance to bring something entirely new to the franchise while staying true to its roots. New cast members and characters. While we're excited about the possibility of Cillian Murphy returning as Jim, we can't ignore the potential for fresh faces in the cast. Who else might join this world of chaos and survival? Early rumors suggest that 28 Years Later could introduce a younger generation of characters who have grown up in the aftermath of the outbreak. These survivors would have no memory of a pre-virus world, offering a fresh perspective on the story. Imagine a character who was born into this nightmare. How would they view the older generation, who still cling to memories of the past? And how would those who've lived through the outbreak view the younger survivors, who've known nothing else? This dynamic could create some fascinating character arcs. The future of the franchise. Finally, let's talk about what 28 Years Later could mean for the future of this franchise. If this film is a hit, it could open the door for more stories set in the 28 Days Later universe. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland have both expressed interest in continuing the series, but only if there's a compelling story to tell. There's even speculation about expanding into other mediums, like a TV series or spin-off films. After all, the world of 28 Days Later is rich with possibilities, from exploring how other countries dealt with the outbreak to diving into the early days of the infection's spread. Closing thoughts. With 28 Years Later, it feels like we're on the brink of something truly special. This movie has the potential to not only honor the legacy of the first two films, but also push the boundaries of what a horror movie can be. Whether it's exploring humanity's resilience or delivering heart-pounding scares, we're expecting nothing less than a masterpiece. What do you think? Are you as excited for 28 years later as we are? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Starstruck TV, and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we drop our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.